Sehr geehrte Herren und Damen, ich bin Ali Asgar.
Okay, we can get back to Ali's Deutsch skills later. Let's get to what we're here to do today, which is basically present an episode of Unexplained Mysteries. So what we're here to do is explain the unknown.
And also to present our invention.
So as with all our episodes, we first begin with the mystery, the problem. So
Here we have a small video of a father teaching his child how to learn a cycle, how to ride a cycle.
Keep pedaling. Now you've got to really go hard here, Andy. Good boy now. Watch that.
And you'll see what happens.
You're okay. You're okay.
That surely is a traumatic experience for everyone in our childhoods.
yeah, tell me about it. I took 1 year longer than my sister and she's 3 years younger than me.
Seriously?
Okay, so now we have a problem. How about the solution to it?
And our solution is our invention. It's the stereo,
The self-balancer and Farad.
the self-balancing bike.
So if you're talking about a self-balancing bike, you would expect a lot of scientific mumbo jumbo voodoo. But you can put your wands aside. It's actually a very simple concept. So first we start with something called the contact polygon. And to explain this, we'll call upon two of my good friends, CG, which is nothing but the center of gravity, which, as we all know, is taken as the point to be where all the forces of a body act. Now, the second of our friends is called Mr. CP, which is the contact polygon. This is basically the polygon with which a body is in contact with the ground. So for a circular building, like for example your Leaning Tower of Pisa, you would have a circle as your polygon. Now, let's locate CG on Leaning Tower of Pisa. So there he is. Now, as long as CG and CP are together, that is, CG lies within CP, you have a balanced building or a balanced body. So this is why you have a standing Leaning Tower of Pisa, as you would call it. Now, if you are giving a light nudge, like, Yokozuna, and then you would have CG coming ever so slightly out of CP, so you would have an unstable building. That would be left of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So now that we've understood how we have a standing Leaning Tower of Pisa, let's move on to the second concept.
Wait, let me explain that. Okay, so gyroscopes, a little more complicated concept. As you can see, a rotating disc over here, it has a rotating axis, which is the red color axis. And if a torque is applied to this gyroscope about the green axis or the blue axis, which will come back right now, then there will be a precession observed in an axis perpendicular to both the red and the green axis. So that's the concept of the gyroscope. The gyroscope is not new to us. It is used in planes and also in the ships. But here it's not used for balancing, like we have used. If we were to use it for balancing in a ship, then it would be the size of the biggest cheese available on planet Earth, and the only thing the plane would do is crash. And if we were to use the gyroscope to balance a ship, then the ship would only sink. These concepts are too big for the plane and for the ship. So we have narrowed it down and brought it down to a small two-wheeler.
Okay, so these concepts are implemented in the cycle or in any two-wheeler. Now, I'm sure you all know how to ride a cycle, so you would know that if you're cycling fast enough and if you let go of your hands, you would balance your cycle even otherwise. So that is the principle on which we've gone. What we've done is we've put in a small rotating disc in the front wheel of a cycle or any two-wheeler that you want. And what this disc does is it spins at a really high speed and it's in the same direction as your front wheel. And whenever you start to lean or start to tilt or when you're learning start to fall, The fall acts like your force or your moment, as Ali said. Now, this would cause your disk to start processing. And since the disk is within your front wheel would move. Now, as the front wheel moves, so would your steering wheel, and that would cause your CP, which is your contact polygon, to come back under your CG, which was tilting. So you have CG and CP reunited, so you have a balanced bike. So now that we have our concept clear, which is actually pretty simple, let's move on to how it's made, which is a tad bit more complicated.
Let's go about it one step at a time. First we have a motor, then an axle, then a bush, then a bearing, then a bush, then a covering plate, then a rotating disc, then a bush, then a bearing, then an axle, then another bearing, then a covering plate on the other side, then the wheel, then the bushes, then the bolts and the nuts, then the wheel, and then the fork, and finally the lock nuts.
Like I said, a tad bit complicated. Now, the stereo or the self-balancing device can be implemented on anything from a two-wheeler like a moped to the smallest of cycles with relative ease.
Okay. Enough of talking. Let's show the stereo in action. Here we have a small girl who actually tested our concept and our idea for the first time. She's trying to ride the cycle and she's not able to do it. The stereo is not on at the moment. So she's trying to ride the cycle and she's not able to do it. Then I'll go and I'll turn the stereo on for her, and you'll see the change immediately. You'll see that the girl does not need to balance anymore. The balancing is completely taken care of by the cycle, and the only thing she has to do is pedal away and smile. You'll see her smiling now. And
So
there's a
that's
smile.
giving people smiles ever since its conception in June 2011. So now let's get back to Ali's Deutsch skills.
Ja, sie ist Manee Manjurat urf Manee.
Und ist Herr alias gar Eranpurwala. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you.